Hi guys and welcome to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Drayton Park Golf Club. I'm in my swing studio and today's video is going to be a great one for anyone struggling with fades or slices. So I'm going to talk you through how a couple of changes that have really come about from Mo Norman's golf swing could really help you get out of this out to win swing path. So for anyone, if they're a right-hand golfer, anyone who's swinging out to win, you're going to see a shot where it's a pull straight left or it's over curving to the right of the target. If you're a left-hander and you're swinging out to win, you're going to be seeing a pull to the right or a slice to the left. So if that is you, if it's something you struggle with, a couple of things that Mo Norman did in his golf swing are really going to help you get out of this fade and this slice. So Mo Norman, a very eccentric, very quirky character that played on some of the mini tours, then on the PGA Tour, was renowned as one of the best ball strikers out there and the straightest hitter. Probably the cockiest guy on tour as well, and he used to have a lot of people seeing him hit golf balls, and he would always comment and have jokes how he's never hit it off line, the straightest guy out there. He was very much a believer in his own ability, very much did things his own way, but there's a couple of things we can take from what he did that would really help you if you're struggling, as I said, with this fade, with this slice. So the first thing that Mo Norman did with every club is he started with a club a good foot behind the golf ball. So you could change that to a different amount you feel comfortable with, but the benefits, and I'm just talking about a driver here and getting you out of fading and slicing, the benefit of starting with the driver a little bit behind the golf ball, so I've got it a good 10 to 12 inches, probably 12 inches there behind the golf ball, is what you'll see from the downline camera is that gets my shoulders and forearms a little bit more close to the target line, pointing to the right, and that will encourage my path to be a little bit more in to out. The other thing that moving the club a little bit behind the golf ball does is it sets my body a little bit behind the golf ball, which is a really good thing for swinging not only more in to out, but a little bit more up on the golf ball. So when you are fading and slicing generally into impact, we're seeing some sort of approach where the club is swinging downwards and out to win, so across the golf ball and more on a downward path. So what this is going to encourage is more of an upward into out path, which is going to be great for distance, and it's also going to give us more of a draw pattern. So if you are struggling with that shot, the first thing to go ahead and try on the practice area is move the club, set up to it as normal, then move the club 10, 12 inches behind the golf ball. That means the club's pointing a little bit to the right, a little bit open, but that's fine. That's what we want with a draw. We just want the swing path going more to the right than the club face. So this is going to help close my shoulders and forearms and encourage a path that is more to the right of the target. As I said, it's also had the added bonus of setting me a little bit behind the golf ball. The second part that Mo Norman talked about, there was a couple of things in his golf swing, but what he always talked about was his downswing, and then through impact, the club was staying at target for a long time. Now, there's a few things in there, he was very confident in his own ability. I'm not sure he always knew exactly why he hit the shot that he did, but he'll tell you, of course, that he did. So he tried to keep the club down the target line for quite a long period. He was talking about sort of 3 foot before the ball to 3 foot after the ball. The club's going down the target line and less rotation. We know that there is rotation, and we know there has to be some rotation for a power source. We know that we get less rotation of the golf club if the golfer has closed the face a little bit earlier on the downswing. I'm not going to talk about that part too much. I'm going to talk another bit about what Mo Norman said of his golf swing, one of his secrets. He said that there was this part here on the downswing. He always tried to keep his lead arm, his left arm, higher than his right arm. So he demonstrates it by doing this. You can again see with this movement, it's kept me behind the golf ball rather than lunging at it with my upper body. So this feeling of my lead arm being higher than my right gets my right elbow a little bit more tucked in, my trail elbow, tilts my spine behind the golf ball, and means that I make sure I'm starting my downswing with my lower body, not my upper body. So a great way to feel that, and that's very much an over-exaggeration, But at the top of the backswing, if I could lay this cane across my forearms, it's a little bit hard, so I'm just going to come down to here. If I laid that, I'll just do it with the club in fact rather than the cane, you would see that if the club was going to fall off, it's going to fall backwards. Whereas if I was leading with my upper body on the downswing here, my trail arm being higher than my lead arm, the club would fall downwards towards the target. So for him, this dropping movement, he didn't talk about a pulling movement, it was more of a dropping movement here. His lead arm was staying higher than his right arm, his trail arm, and it kept him a little bit more behind the golf ball. You may not need to feel that, you may not need to go that extreme. What I'm going to try and do is the first part, and I'm going to hit a couple of balls just moving the club behind the golf ball. But what you could take from that is if you are struggling with a fade and slice, the feeling of the arms dropping before you turn through is a really good one, rather than the first movement being from the top of the backswing, a turn onto the ball where this right shoulder, this trail shoulder goes out towards the golf ball. We're going to be getting that feeling of the trail shoulder moving a little bit lower as the club drops behind me. That's what you could take from Mo Norman's swing. Let me click on the keyboard so we can see these. This should give us, when we look at the numbers, I'm hoping, an in-to-out swing path and a more upward angle of attack. With my driver, I'm pretty normal, pretty zero. So with an iron, I'm 2-3 degrees into out. With a driver, my swing path tends to be quite close to zero, up to sort of 1 degree out to into, 1 degree into out. So what I'd expect to see is more of an into-out path and more of an angle of attack. So I'm trying to hit up on the golf ball a little bit more. I'm going to set up as normal. I'm going to move the club 10, 12 inches behind the golf ball and go ahead and hit one from there. So the ball started right of target. It drew, it's finished a little left of target. If we quickly look at the numbers, I'm pretty sure we're going to see an upward angle of attack and an into-out swing path. So I swung into out. I was almost expecting a little bit more than that. Into out by 1 degree. I hit up on the ball by 4 degrees. So definitely created that into out swing path. Let me hit one more of those. And I may just rehearse that movement on the downswing of trying to allow my arms to drop so I'm behind the golf ball here, which is what Mo Norman was talking about, his lead arm higher than his trail arm to really help this into out swing path. So let's start with the club behind the golf ball and get that feeling of staying a little bit more behind it, allowing the arms to drop. Good. I mean, that was a little low out the bottom of the golf club, but that really felt, and not the longest, I was really trying to get that exaggerated feeling that I was quite a long way behind it and definitely hitting up on it, which is something you'll see with Mo Norman's swing. So here we go, yeah. Really exaggerated on that time. You can just see the strike wasn't great. Maybe I'd need to tee it a little bit higher. But I swung into out by 3.5 degrees and up on the golf ball by 6 degrees, which is what I really want to try and create if I am struggling with a fade or a slice. I hope you enjoyed the content of the video. It's, as I said, a bit of an insight into Mo Norman. Check him out on YouTube. It's great to actually see him in some of his golf clinics and stuff. As I said, someone, a real extreme extroverted character, but great to listen to. I wouldn't pay as much attention in terms of the club going to the target, you know, for those 3 foot behind, 3 foot in front. But the bits I'd take from it, that setup change is really good if you are a fade or a slicer moving the club behind the golf ball. And that feeling of staying a little bit more behind the golf ball, that his lead arm is higher than the trail arm, would really get you out of this sort of approach. If you did enjoy the content of the video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel for all the other content every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 5:30. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.